Welcome back, everyone, to the Slab Stocks podcast. You might be a little confused seeing my face today on a Thursday. Normally, you're used to Nate's Dinging Corners that releases today. Well, you will get that today as well, so don't worry. Be on the lookout for that later. But 2 days ago in Sam Dunks, Sam talked about a new podcast you guys should check out, and I'm here to further explain what's going on. I'm sure you all are familiar with Joe Buck, World Series Super Bowl broadcaster for Fox Sports. He and Oliver Hudson just launched a new podcast called Daddy Issues, where they make jokes, talk about their lives, talk about what's going on back at their houses, tell stories from their childhood, a lot of really great stuff. And even recently they did an interview with Mark Cuban, who is one of my favorites on Shark Tank. I love watching that show. I'm sure many of you do as well, with the entrepreneurial spirit in sports cards, and I highly recommend checking out that interview. I gained a lot. Mark Cuban as a father, how he coaches his kids, very similar to he was when growing up. His dad didn't have much when he was growing up, and he learned his hard work and his work ethic from him. And he wants to instill that in his children as well. And then also, of course, owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Lots to like there. Talks a lot about how he got started and how he really blew up, in the mid-20s or late 20s with his streaming service he put together for Dallas sports. Really interesting to hear how the internet was just starting up, and he took it, and turned it into something really great. So there's lots of great stories on this podcast between Joe Buck and Oliver Hudson. Bring on some other interesting guests, including David Spade. So I highly recommend you guys to check it out, and I'm going to drop a preview here of the show where Joe Buck, or actually Oliver Hudson, is giving a story when he's a kid and some lessons he learned from that. So I hope you guys enjoy, and definitely check out their podcast in the link in the description. It'll take you right there. Check out that Mark Cuban interview. Highly recommend.
Hey guys, this is one of your hosts, Oliver Hudson. I have a very special guest I would like to introduce you to right now. He is a friend of mine, has been a friend of mine for a long time. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to Joe Buck.
Hey, Oliver.
How are you, man?
Hey, Kate. Can Kate hear me? Hi,
No,
Kate.
she can't
Longtime fan. I bought your books, and I shop at Fabletics. And
Joe,
what?
That's not what this is about, dude. Yeah.
Oh.
So we're doing a show together called Daddy Issues.
You and I are unlikely friends.
Yeah,
From the outside looking in.
we are.
But from the inside looking out, it's pure magic.
I mean,
And we're going to share that magic.
beautiful. Joe and I sometimes spend hours on the phone together, and now you're going to pretty much hear what those conversations are all about.
We're going to have guests. We're going to have guests from the sports world, the acting world. We're going to have
Broadway.
the Broadway, men and women from the world of science.
Right, longshoremen.
These are all possibilities. We're spitballing. We're spitballing before your very ears, right here.
Exactly.
Oliver, it's an honor getting to share podcast space with you. And for those who are going, Oliver Hudson, Joe Buck, what? The guy from sports? The guy who I think hates my team? Here's just a little snippet for you to listen to what this show's actually all about.
That's right. Joe Buck and the guy from Dawson's Creek. Well, I'll tell you a quick Kurt Russell story that really changed my life, and I think you'll like this. So, I was a mama's boy big time. Dad was not in the picture. Mom had boyfriends here and there. I was just, I didn't know who I was, and I was attached to her. I would hear these words when Kurt and my mother got together: independent and dependent. Okay, I didn't know what they meant, but I knew that being independent was better than being dependent. I was probably 6 or 7 at the time. He lived in Colorado. He had a house there since 1977. He took us there, and this is where my life sort of transformed, being in the mountains. We had these ATCs, and we went down to the river, which was about a mile away. And we get down to the river from the house, a mile away from the house, and he just disappears out of thin air. I don't know where he is. And I am looking around, and I would call him Pa. We didn't call him Dad. We didn't call him Kurt. We call him Pa. And I was like, Pa, where are you, Pa? Screaming. And I will never forget it. It's that flashbulb memory of I remember what I was looking at. It's so seared into my mind. And he was sitting behind a tree watching me panic and letting me panic. He gave me about 5 minutes of pure sheer panic. He came out, calmed me down. Ollie, hey, relax. I'm right here. I got my wits about me, and he goes, I want you to take us home. And I was like, no, I need to be behind you so I can see you, so I know that you're not going to leave me, you know? And he convinced me not to get us home. And he was behind me the whole time, and I would look back to make sure he was there. We get home about a mile away. And he goes, see, you got us home here. I was following you, but you know how to get home. You know, if I was gone, if I was truly lost, you can just go home. This light bulb went off in my mind, and it was a transition for me to the point where the next day my parents were having coffee on the porch that overlooked sort of the driveway, and I flew down the driveway in my own ATC, and I said, Mom, Pa, look, I'm independent. Not really understanding what it meant, just knowing that it was a positive word. And I was off. I took off, and I was on my own. I was able to sort of be free because, you know, figuratively and even sort of emotionally, I knew how to get home, you know. So that's a Kurt Russell story. That's how he raised me, you know, and that's how I try to raise my kids, honestly.
I listened to that entire thing, and as we got to the end, I started getting pissed at my dad. He didn't ever... I didn't have any lessons like that. I mean, he could have been eaten by a bear. He could have, you know, flipped whatever he was driving around on, ATV, ATC, whatever you called it. And look at you. Now look at you, Oliver Hudson. Look what you've become.
Did you like that clip, Joe?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So if people who just heard that clip liked it, and they want to hear more examples of how you were left in the wilderness alone at the age of 6, then they should
go to the Apple Podcasts, hit subscribe, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
All we can ask is this. Download it for free, and have 5 of your friends download it for free, and have each one of those 5 friends tell 10 people to download it for free.
This is a great idea, a pyramid podcast.
Right. This is how Madoff got started.
Yes. Tell your 5, they tell their 5. Boom.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right.
All right, let's leave it at that.
Okay.